Andrew.
Hey, Kandis.
How are you doing?
I am doing well.
So this is your first time appearing on our BKK Beat.
I am honored to be here.
Well, I'm really excited. And so as you know, what we do is we just talk about fun stuff in the news or interesting stuff in the news and how that relates to our practices. So before we dive in, tell me a little bit about your practice area at being Kinney.
Sure. I would call myself a real estate attorney. I do real estate transactions, but I also do entitlements. So I do approvals for land use and zoning. And a lot of my clients are developers and other entities trying to build value in different areas.
So, well, we've got a lot of real estate going on in the DC metropolitan area. So tell me what real estate lawyers like yourself and your clients have been reading about in the news.
Sure. Well, obviously, if you've been paying any attention, there's a little bit of an office vacancy that's going on in most of the commercial business districts throughout the entire country. That has been very problematic for those municipalities because they rely on the taxes from those office tenants to be able to fund schools and infrastructure and things like that. So that's been out there in the news a lot recently.
Yeah, that's been happening since COVID, basically, when we all kind of went home and people realized they wanted to stay home.
And they didn't want to go back.
Yeah.
So that has certainly been a topic of conversation for a while. And also recently, there may be a new tallest building in the nation. Drum roll.
In New York City?
No, in all places, Oklahoma City.
Wow.
Yep. There's been a proposal for a building that is 1,907 feet tall.
Okay.
And they chose that number because 1907 is when Oklahoma became a state.
Oh, well, that's cool.
But there is some question as to whether or not they could actually execute that. It's all fine and good to put out a press release saying, we're going to build the tallest building, in the nation. And Oklahoma City is a growing area, but if you were to look on, say, Google Maps and check around to see what the other buildings in the area are, you would find that they are not even remotely close to that height.
Okay.
So one of the things that planners and the folks working in those municipalities are going to have to consider is, how is this going to fit into the community? What plans do we already have in place? And is what they're proposing going to jive with that?
Okay. So so tell me a little bit about that. There's a process that the municipalities and communities go through before someone gets approval to build this humongously tall building.
Anytime you're going to build
How does that work, and do you play into that? Do the real estate lawyers come into play at that point?
Yes. So anytime that you're going to redevelop anything, for example, in Oklahoma City, it's a parking lot.
It's a parking lot right now?
It's a parking lot right now. It's an L-shaped parking lot. It's roughly 5 acres. The highest and best use may be a 200-story, 190-story, building there. But before you even get to that point, you're going to consult a land use attorney or a real estate attorney like myself. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at what the comprehensive plan says for that area.
Okay.
Now, I am not licensed in Oklahoma City, so I am not as familiar with the comprehensive plan as, say, I am in Fairfax County, Arlington, the Northern Virginia area. Municipalities can impact what property owners can do with their property. Okay. If you were to say
that's what I would call zoning, right?
Yes,
okay.
It's zoning. Zoning is something that is necessary because you do not want to have an industrial building next to a school.
Right.
That sort of thing. And that has evolved into a situation where things have gotten pretty particular in terms of what those policy documents are. From the comprehensive plan, you will have a zoning ordinance, which is the law of what you can do. It can establish how big a building is, what its setbacks are, those kinds of things. It also establishes what the use is, and we'll probably get into that later when we talk about office conversions.
Yeah.